Well, we are really excited about being here today and talking to you a little bit about diversity and workforce programs and really filling that talent pipeline, particularly at the frontline level. Let me get something out of the way that I've been struggling with over the last hour and a half now. I got put in the old group, the old people group, by a narrow margin of 6-5. Am I the only one? I'm just still trying to struggle with processing that, and come to some level of acceptance. I may be in the old group or asking for a retake. So I just want to get a shout out to all you folks who are on that 6-5 either way. It's not fun. So we all know we have an issue. We have a talent issue in manufacturing. I got like tons of data slides to show that. I don't think I need to show that to this group. Just to test that out here, who has an opening right now for a CNC machinist? Look at that. Well, you're in the right room because we're going to be talking about some wonderful programs out there that put out highly qualified CNC machinists from a diverse population. I have the privilege of leading the workforce team here at Tooling U-SME. We work with about 1,000 partners. Most of those partners are academic institutions and community-based organizations that are trying to do everything they can to fill the top of that pipeline, whether it be a degreed engineer, a degreed welder, a machinist with a one-year certificate program, or frankly, in the most popular programs that are out there right now, take a few months, not years, to get folks basic skills so they can get out there, whether they're unemployed, working at Taco Bell, Jiffy Lube, wherever they're at, to get into the manufacturing sector. We cannot do enough of that, and I know you are all ambassadors of when you're out there talking to folks to get folks in the top of that funnel, so we encourage you to keep doing that. I want to recognize a couple of my partners out there for my team that are not up on stage right now, but Penn State University, Penn College of Technology, and Polaris Career Center all the way from the Cleveland area. I just thought that three of our partners, they all start with P, so that wasn't a requirement, by the way. I want to introduce right now, or right before I get to that, when we talk about diversity from an SME organizational perspective, we are very proactive these days, not that we weren't before, but really promoting diversity at all levels into manufacturing. And we have a lot of influence and the relationships we have with our community-based organizations and these schools, which are really the boots on the ground, and really helping them think of different ways to attract and retain people from different walks of life. When I say that, I mean anywhere from women, veterans, black and brown, folks that are formerly or in incarceration right now, so that they have a plan when they leave, and folks that are what we call, and this is going to be maybe a new word to some of you today. It's also in my muscle memory, uniquely abled. That's a word that will hopefully replace the word disabled when you walk out of here. Without further ado, I want to highlight a couple programs for you today by having them come in here and talking about it. And then I also have folks that are going to talk a little bit about the impact of these programs on their manufacturing organization and then the employees that end up going through the program and are employed by these folks. So I'd like to ask John Wheeler from the Uniquely Abled Academy to come up here. John has over 40 years of experience in industry and post-secondary education. That statement alone, John, puts you in the old group. You didn't even have to take the quiz. He's currently advising and developing Uniquely Abled Academy institutions as a UAA consultant for the Uniquely Abled Project and as a member of the UAP Board of Directors. While serving on the Workforce Development Innovation staff at Rhodes State College in Lima, Ohio, John served as a project coordinator for their first Uniquely Abled Academy cohort. While in industry, John worked in various process engineering, quality engineering, and training positions in the microelectronics and automotive industries. John has also instructed many engineering-related courses at both Marion Technical College in Ohio and Rhodes State College. John, why don't you come up here and talk to us a little bit about the Uniquely Abled Academy?
Thanks, Greg. Well, good morning. You can do better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. I'm here to talk to you about a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's the Uniquely Abled Academy. Before I start, I want to ask one question. How many of you, either in your work relationships or your personal relationships, know of someone who's on the autism spectrum? Show of hands, please. That's pretty typical. I have to admit, when I got involved in this program, I was fairly ignorant about the spectrum, and I have learned quite a bit in the last 5 or 6 years. Which button do we have here, though? There we go. Thank you. I want to talk about the Uniquely Abled Project. I'm sure, as all of you know, there's a high demand for skilled workers in any particular area. We've initially looked at CNC operators and inspectors because these are highly, highly repetitive technical tasks which those on the autism spectrum are very good at and very well suited to. One of our goals is to break down the paradigm between the words disabled and the term uniquely abled. And I've taught myself over the last couple years not to use the word disabled. I refer to it as the D word. Because if you talk to someone for a potential job, if you speak to a potential employer and say, hey, I've got Bill here, he's disabled. I want you to consider him for your open position. In most cases, the first thing that employer is going to think of when he hears the word disabled is, what is his problem? Why is he disabled? What accommodations am I going to have to make? What are those accommodations going to cost? And what advantage does it have? But when we switch over and talk about uniquely abled, that says that this person, Bill, has a unique set of abilities, and he can do jobs better than anyone else because of those unique abilities. And that's what we want to do. We want to provide skilled workers for unique abilities in jobs that are in demand. The Uniquely Abled Project, which is actually the parent organization, the Uniquely Abled Academy, has 2 programs. One is the Uniquely Abled Academy, which is for jobs that require training, such as a CNC machinist. And then the UAP Jobs program is for jobs that don't require a lot of prior training, such as an inspector or receiving, shipping, and things like that. We have found that a successful vocational education program needs to have these 10 functions in order to be successful. We have been able to have a 95% plus placement rate, and it's because of these 10 functions being supplied that it is so successful. Most areas, all 10 of those elements are available, but there's seldom one organization that can supply all 10 of those functions. And that's one of the main reasons that there's so few successful programs such as this, or career placement. And that's where the Uniquely Abled Academy comes into play to help coordinate these programs and lets multiple organizations collaborate seamlessly so that these programs can be set up and be successful. The Uniquely Abled Academy itself, you're going to train those on the spectrum to be CNC operators. Now, we're currently looking at other career paths also. Don't think that it's just basically CNC. That's where our success has been so far. It's a 16-week program with job placement at the end and post-hire support. Now, the 16 weeks is not etched in stone. Some cohorts have done it 16 weeks. Others have done it in a year-long program, a 2-semester program, whatever works best for the individual organization. It's managed locally. The institution that hosts the program manages it themselves. We, as the Uniquely Able Project, serve only as consultants. We guide you along the way. It's free to the trainees through grant funding. It is totally free to the participants. It costs nothing for the potential employers either. We have over 235 graduates at this point with a 95% placement rate. Of the 5% that have not been placed, several of these have decided they've gone for further education. We had one or two that quite frankly got partway through the program and said, you know, machining's not for me. But they, to their credit, they finished the program. So we're pleased with the 95%. And the employers are just ecstatic with the production or with the output of these employees. One employer told me, he said, this guy that I hired is the hardest worker we have. The only problem I have with him is that I need to go at the end of the day and tell him it's time to go home, or he'd work all night. A lot of the job skills we teach, in addition to the machining skills, are resume writing, phone etiquette, communication skills, conflict resolution. And yes, I'm in the old generation. It's things that are lost on the younger generations, like you have to come to work every day. You have to work 8 hours. You have to come on time. And these are things that I guess, fortunately or unfortunately, we have to teach to the younger generation. There are 12 states listed here. We have 24 uniquely abled academies that are either under development or in place. And there are 12 states listed here. We're growing so fast, we actually have it in 14 states right now. So it is growing. It's exciting. I can't speak enough about it. The only disadvantage of my presentation today is I've only got 10 minutes. So please, I'll be here the rest of the day today and at the ball game tonight. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Other areas we're looking at, robotics, for example, IT or cybersecurity, and with the development of the semiconductor industry, especially in this region, we're looking at possibilities for careers in the semiconductor industry. And again, outside of a cheap excuse to get my picture up here, here's the contact information. Please see me today if you have a chance. I have some handouts. If not, feel free to contact us, and we can get the ball rolling if you would like to start a Uniquely Abled Academy. Thank you.
Thanks, John. One thing to note, since we're in the state of Pennsylvania here, is that the Uniquely Abled Academy here in Pennsylvania is up in the Erie, Pennsylvania area right now. We're going to have Greg Wasco come up here as representing an employer in the Erie, Pennsylvania area who's really partnered with and was instrumental in getting that up off the ground in the Erie area. John Wheeler and his team are actually talking to different stakeholders right now in the greater Pittsburgh area. So our hope is that we can get something going on here in the Pittsburgh area. As you would imagine, it does take a handful of different stakeholders to be at the table in order for a program like this to be successful. So John and his team are circling the wagons right now, and we'll hopefully get something in place here, maybe by the end of the year, if not sometime in 2025. Our next speaker is Greg Wasco. He's the Executive Vice President and Partner at Starn Tool and Manufacturing Company and Meckel by Starn. Greg is an experienced industry leader with nearly 4 decades of manufacturing experience. John, that puts Greg old category too, by the way. I think all of us are going to be old except for our cleanup hitter here at the end. But he spearheads strategic direction and operational excellence, ensuring organizational success. Greg co-founded Great 8 County Next Generation Manufacturing Partnership, which fosters collaboration and innovation across several counties, providing specialized education and training for individuals with high-functioning autism. Greg's commitment to workforce development is evident through initiatives like the apprenticeship program for the Northwest Pennsylvania NTMA chapter, and the NIMS apprenticeship program at Star and Tool, emphasizing the company's dedication to nurturing skilled workers. Actively engaged in industry committees and boards, Greg drives positive change and advocates for best practices. His leadership, recognized by the William E. Hardman Award for Excellence in Training from the NTMA, underscores his commitment to talent development. So Greg's going to talk a little bit about his organization, and then more importantly, how he is tied to the UAA Academy and how those graduates are working out in his plant.
All right, thank you. That was quite the intro. I'm just an old toolmaker, right? I went through apprenticeship back when there weren't CNCs, so that's how old I am. So, do we have a video? I believe. Okay. All right. I just want to qualify. John and I have done this separately several times, and John's explained to you the UAA. So my job is just to give you a testimonial. I'm very, very passionate about this subject, so it's really going to be tough for me to keep this 10 minutes, but I promise I will. So if I start rushing through slides, that'll explain why. So please, my contact information is there. I hope somebody here is inspired to begin a program. If it looks very intimidating, I'm here to tell you it's not. I didn't know what I was doing. I came, the community took over and did it. So if anybody has any questions and wants to get in the weeds and get into details of the testimonials and how to do it and what not to do, the one thing is it's super, super flexible. If you get anything out of this, it's super flexible. Everything they say is true about their abilities, okay? And again, I will be happy to talk to anybody, any group, and I'll show you kind of what we did. So testimonial wise, I'm going to burn up 3 minutes real quick because in this video, get a chance to hear the instructor testimonial, the student testimonial, and also, it's just as important, a parent testimonial. So bear with me and check this video out, and then I'll show you some other stuff.
The Uniquely Abled Academy provides autistic young adults with technical training to prepare them for a career as a computer numerical control CNC operator in manufacturing.
I initially heard about the UAA when I was at a national conference, and listening to the testimonials and listening to the program, I became very excited and couldn't wait to get back home. And when I got back home, I got with some local organizations to help explore and work together and make a local UAA possible here in this region.
Most of the companies in our area are viewing this as potential employees. So they'll come to us as instructors and say, okay, where do you think a particular employee would fit best into my company? You know, where it'd be quality control or actual being on a machine, making parts, what have you. It might even be into the sales portion of it. Some of the students we've seen here are pretty dynamic.
I've always been interested in this kind of, this kinds of hands-on learning stuff, and I thought that this was something that, if I could learn it, I mean, it could make a genuine career path for me, and it could be something that I end up genuinely enjoying doing.
I can tell you from experience and from the rest of the testimonials that they are perfect fit for team building and that whole cultural experience. The rest of the employees embrace them and love them, and they enhance it more than anything. They're endeared by the rest of the team.
You're gonna have a lot of fun. It might be difficult and overwhelming at first, because it was for me, because I had no idea what I was walking into, but I'm having fun every time I come here.
Well, at the very least, I'd like to be able to say I did something useful in the time that I've been around. You know, and still be able to do something useful going forward from that point.
Just like any parent, you want the best for your child. You wonder, you know, once you're gone from this world, who's going to be there for them? Are they going to be able to live a life that's like you're living now? You know, and you just need to try to find those avenues for them to do such. I mean, this was a great avenue for him to try, and he's really enjoying what he's doing now. So.
All right, there are absolutely probably, I don't know, what, 10, 15 other videos on the UAA website, and they're great. Ivan Rosenberg and, you know, Titan Gilroy from Titans of CNC and all that, so please check those out. I got to go through these really quick. So we have several companies, so it's a good cross section of the different industries. Star Tools, aerospace company, been in business almost 80 years. Meckel by Star and Penn Weld is a fabrication company, and we have a little marketing company and a little software company. So I don't need to talk to you. You all know all this. The silver tsunami, John insisted that I use that word again. We were faced with it, faced with all the pressures you all were faced with, and we really had to dig in and figure out. We lost 16 employees to retirement in 2.5 years. Our average age was in the 50s, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and it was critical, all our skilled labor. So we really had to scramble and do the pipeline development, the academic outreach, those kind of things. So you all are familiar with all this. These are presentations in themselves. You know, we've done these over the years, but the employee pipeline, apprenticeship programs, robobots, academic outreaches, all that fun stuff that we're all involved in. And along came Uniquely Abled Academy. I was serving as the chair of the National Education Committee for NTMA, and it came up on my agenda, and I was like, what the heck is UAA? So dug in, talked to Ivan, and I found out very quickly I didn't know crap about autism. Even though my nephew had Asperger's, I was clueless about just how uniquely abled they are. So that's how I got involved, and we were the first. When we started, John, I think there was only 4 other UAs, and they were all out on the West Coast. So we were the first. Our challenge was not Erie. The first one with my 8-county involvement was in Crawford County and a rural area. So it hadn't been done in an urban area; it had been done in a rural area. So we had some challenges. I mean, could we do it? I got to start out with saying I didn't really do a whole lot. I came back and contacted some folks that I knew in town, and this program is a win-win for everybody. It dovetails with everything the government's trying to do. It dovetails with all the social service initiatives. It dovetails with the community. I mean, community involvement, but I thought it was a charity case. Boy, was I mistaken. I mean, selfishly now, my gosh, we're getting all these employees that otherwise, who knows what they would have been doing. I mean, you know, delivering flowers, you know, flipping burgers, that kind of stuff. So it's been fantastic. So we worked through all the issues very quickly. Social services jumped in. You saw IRC, Northwest IRC Commission, just everybody in the whole community pulled together and got together and made it happen. It was very humbling and incredible to see and watch. So 2 schools, the one in Crawford County. I'm going to go through that real quick. We graduated two cohorts, and we have our 3rd now. Erie County started one. They just graduated, and the flexibility on this thing, you can cater it any way you want. You got an implementation guide about that thick, but it's for anything. You break it down. This one is a full-year program, an accredited program. Matter of fact, Jill Biden came to the graduation here this spring to pass out the certificates to the students. So it's a full-year accredited program. Ours at Crawford County is a very quick 16-week program. just gets them the basics, and they come in and the employer takes over. So super flexible. You can do with it whatever your demographics require. So don't let it intimidate you. You'll get help. Everybody wants to be involved for all the right reasons. So these are the questions I get all the time. You know, how much time and effort? Look, we, as good managers, as good foremen, all the employees are different, right? You know, not to talk to Joe till he's had a cups of coffee. They're just, yeah, they're a little bit different. They take things literally. You get help if you want it, to educate yourself about autism, to educate your foreman or whatever, but it's quite simple. They're just a little bit different and unique. Do they fit? Yes, absolutely. Can they function as a part of the team? Yes, absolutely. They don't miss a day of work. I mean, I'm not just speaking for the two we have. I talked to everybody that's getting, it's 90-some% placement, and now they're waiting in line. That's what we wanted. They're waiting in line and coming into the school to see them. Work ethic, fantastic. Can they be cross-trained? Absolutely. Aaron, you saw him in the video. We hired Aaron in 2003, and he actually became an inspector. Absolutely. Attention to detail, you can't shake him. I can come in, you think, oh, the boss is here, right? He won't even turn his back. He just stays focused right on his task. And when he's done with that task, yeah, he'll talk to you. So this manager, Zach Tinko, young guy. By the way, we flipped our whole demographics. Our average age now is like 37, 38. There's a bunch of 30. I'm the old guy now, so I'm just mentoring. But Zach is that 32-year-old manager. Really hard, all right? Really hard to please, really demanding, and I'm working with him on that. I'm working with him to be a little more softer with his approach. So for him to say this just spoke volumes to me. I'm not going to read it. Y'all can read it, but I just got to tell you, he thinks the world of Aaron, and he's one of the best employees we have, obviously. So conclusions, UAA, it's been a key development in Crawford County for the manufacturing industry, for sure. Opened up an entirely new employee pipeline that had no previous participation. It really was cool to see congregated the community and brought the community together, and we're ready to do other things like formerly incarcerated programs and underprivileged program. We're getting ready to start some of those. Created a path of achievement and goal, and opened the minds of the community to work with new initiatives as well. So again, please do not hesitate to pick up the phone, send me an email. If you want me to talk to your group, your local group, do not let this intimidate you. John and his group are fantastic support and help, and you'll find your community will rally around you and give you all the support you need. So thank you.
So thanks John and Greg for the work that you're doing to promote this program. And we at Tooling U-SME, we're doing our part to try and get more markets across the United States to launch a program like this. Let me transition into another program, one of my favorite programs in the country. Neil Ashbaugh, President and CEO of New Century Careers. Neil and I go back about 5 years. We have a lot in common. We like to work in manufacturing. We like Primanti sandwiches, and we happen to go to the same barber. But Neil's got 23 years of manufacturing experience. His journey spans from the shop floor to HR to technical training, management. He's basically done any job that you can imagine within a manufacturing plant. Neil is also the first person I've ever met in my life that has gone through 2 separate 4-year apprenticeship programs. Has anyone done that or know anyone that's done that? Yeah, it's a pretty interesting conversation when you ask him how he got into that. I don't know yet. Yeah. He was initially hired by Oberg Industries as a journeyman grinder. Neil ascended to corporate roles in sales, marketing, management, focusing on training, talent development, and new product development. Currently at New Century Careers, Neil oversees operations in a wide range of programs, including their apprenticeship program, their production area, sales, marketing, business development, corporate training, and workforce development. He spearheaded the group apprenticeship program and the New Century Job Shop. Neil is a recognized subject matter expert in machining training and workforce development, often sought after by media, professional organizations, and school districts, and tooling U-SME to come and speak once in a while. In 2022, he was appointed to the Westmoreland Fayette County Workforce Investment Board's Next Generation Manufacturing Industry Partnership. Neil, why don't you come up here and tell us a little bit about New Century Careers and the impact it's having on the community here in the Pittsburgh area. His office is actually not too far away from the convention center here. Thanks, Neil.
So the oldest joke in the book is being between you and lunch. It's the roughest place to be when you're doing a presentation, so we'll keep it on track. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for the nice introduction. I'm going to tell my PR people to cut that down. Okay. That sounds way too glorious and glamorous for who I am. So I am Neil Ashbaugh. I am the president and CEO of New Century Careers. A Pittsburgh joke for you, we're just across the river. That's pretty much everywhere. So we're actually on the south side. So we're over this river and over another river. And so we're just about 5 minutes away. What is New Century Careers? We are a nonprofit workforce development, economic development organization. Founded in 1999 as a result of a study that was done by Duquesne University. And when you have a university do a study that says we are in desperate need and trouble where we do not have enough workforce in this region, we need to do something. This was a conversation in 1998 and 99, and we were founded in the vein of providing training and opportunities for people to learn the skills that everybody in this room needs and bring it forth into a direct link to a manufacturer employer. And I'll talk a little bit about our partner companies. Jason Spudik will speak next as one of our partner companies. And the joy that I have today, the reason I'm here is not because of Greg and I's relationship, although it's a big part of it and I enjoy it, but the big part is the gentleman on the end, Terry Cousins, and the experience that he had going through our various programs to reach the levels he has and where I know he's going to go further in his career because of his abilities and a willingness to continue to learn. So we are a diverse group of trainers, so that's why in 2018 we changed our mission statement to include the words like inclusive access and the idea of developing technicians. We are typically machinists, but we know the future is that a machinist is going to do a lot of different things beyond the traditional metalworking removal processes that we're all very familiar with. So how do we do that? Well, we like I said before, we identified all the gaps in the Pittsburgh region, which obviously are nationwide now in this time of our lives. We recognize that there are a ton of people that are unemployed, underemployed. Quite frankly, we've got an untapped resource in our region here of individuals that never realized that they had an opportunity to get involved in manufacturing. So New Century Careers is spearheading all of these wonderful initiatives and reaching out into the community to let people of color, women, recently or currently incarcerated individuals know that they have a place in manufacturing, and we're going to train and we're going to place and put them into these great jobs. So the solutions that we're providing, we're going to talk about today, is a pre-apprenticeship program that we call Manufacturing 2000, or M2K for short, and also just talk briefly about our group sponsor apprenticeship program, where we're a third-party intermediary providing apprenticeship administration and services to a group collective of like-minded small and medium-sized companies in the region. So what is M2K? It's a free program. Did you hear that? It's free. Now, the joke is I hit the old side, but inside I'm about 25 years old, but being a nonprofit leader, this has aged me. Raising funds and keeping the doors open on an operation turns you into this on the outside. So I'm 25, so I wanted to answer the young questions, but in reality, yeah, it was a lot of A's. So, so we provide free tuition, free training, up to 600 hours for individuals that qualify for our program. All the basic things you could think of becoming a machinist, from reading blueprints to learning to operate the manual machines, and then getting exposure to the CNC equipment. I think the key word is safety. I'm a big apprenticeship advocate. Number one reason apprenticeships exist in this country is the reason they were founded is safety. So we're always doing things in a safe environment. Through our program, individuals get to earn different industry credentials through NIMS. Typically, on average, individuals that complete our program have anywhere from 3 to 4 NIMS credentials prior to employment. So that's something our manufacturers want to see on their resumes. Big plug to Tooling U. Every cohort that goes through the first month of our training, which is our boot camp program we call Quick Train, they have to successfully complete over 50 modules that have been determined and designed by the manufacturers and then put forth to our cohorts. So everyone needs to learn those basic, similar skills. And then one new thing that we're working with is work processes. We all live and die by work processes on the shop floor, and quite frankly, I'm guilty of being a machinist / grinder in the past who has looked at work processes and said, these are a bunch of work orders, I've got to figure it out, and I throw them aside. But there's a new technology called Rewinder. It was developed at CMU and now is a for-profit corporation. We are implementing Rewinder communities, and anybody locally would like to come see those. We're open to demonstrations. Basically, they're work processes that run similar to like little vignettes, micro-learning, whatever buzzword you want to use, but it's a really quick and easy way to teach complex procedures. And also, from my standpoint, keep my instructors teaching everyone the same way like they should be, and not showing them the machinist way versus the way it should be done. So that's a neat new technology. Our pre-apprentices are all 18 years or older. So when you say a pre-apprenticeship, a lot of people immediately think, oh, Neil and your team, you must be working with young people in high school. No, ours is an adult pre-apprenticeship, 18 years or older. We serve approximately 30 or 40 pre-apprentices every year in our cohorts, and through our group sponsor apprenticeship, we have over 25 registered apprenticeships going through a 4-year machinist training program. I'm really pleased to announce, this is the first public announcement, we will be launching our boot camp the first month of training in Homewood. Homewood has been historically a very underserved community of Pittsburgh. We are coupling with the University of Pittsburgh's Community Engagement Center in Homewood, and we will inbound cohorts into that community for the first month of training. And through a wonderful grant we have, we're going to provide free transportation to and from that training site, to and from our training site, and when individuals complete our program and go into full employment, we're offering up to 1 year of free transportation for those employees. So that's a big barrier here in Pittsburgh, getting to and from work. We're trying to take that away, make it better for folks. And literally in our almost 25-year history, we've served hundreds and hundreds of pre-apprentices and seen them successfully employed into manufacturing companies. So what could I say as far as lessons learned, next steps? Workforce development is not easy. I know I joked about my age and looking older than what I am, but in reality I am old. But the reality is workforce development is not easy. You all know it. For those folks on the panel before us, I think the thing that you took away was the words adaptability. That's a key word in our culture. Resilience, and giving people the opportunity. We have what we feel is great programming. We do not do it though. We open the doors and we have folks like Terry come to us and take full advantage of those opportunities. So they are the success. We're just a conduit to that success. Things are changing on the screen. We just took delivery, those 2 pieces of equipment. They look good in pictures. Right now they're in crates and they're in boxes. They haven't been implemented, but last week I received in those 2 things. Again, we're changing with the times. We're going more towards training technicians. So we're looking to add new curriculum around robotics and 3D printing, and looking to utilize additional tooling U modules and the certificates that go along with those, as far as, I'm going to mess them up, Greg, don't hurt me, but the CFMGA?
CMFGA.
Okay. He'll tell you the other one. What's the robotics one?
Robotics and Manufacturing Fundamentals.
Thank you. They're so new, I can't even remember them yet. So,
I got more new ones for you too.
oh boy, we'll talk at lunch.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do in the future is not only add the technology, but we're going to look at about adding pre-apprenticeship structure around those, and even looking at bringing on board formal registered apprenticeship programs in the future. Again, the machinist of today is becoming the technician of tomorrow. I'm preaching to the choir here, I think. Pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeships, everybody better understand, and if you don't, take this home with you. They're excellent pathways. Folks like us are looking to do a lot of work around combining the efforts of bringing applicants to the manufacturers. I didn't mention it, but we have over 130 partner companies who are willing to potentially interview and hire our completers. Since we are a nonprofit, many of those folks, when they hire, they're willing to give a donation back to our organization and sustain us. Otherwise, it's grants, and me begging for cash. Always look at industry credentials, whether it's through NIMS or Tooling U. Those programs will validate what you're doing within your own organizations. And I would ask that if you want to learn more about us, we're at ncsquared.com. I will be here the bulk of the day, so hunt me down. And really the highlight of the success, again, is not really who we are, but it's going to come in the next two presentations. No pressures, gentlemen, but you know, but True Position and Terry Cousins. So thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Neil. In the spirit of time, I'm going to ask our next two speakers to come up together, and I'm going to introduce them together. Both of them are from True Position, Inc., which is a contract manufacturer in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, which is just north of the Pittsburgh area. Jason Spudek is the vice president at True Position. He is responsible for the hiring and developing of new talent for the technically demanding field of precision machining. Jason is a third generation of leadership of this 40-year-old family business, and has experience with all facets of facility management, manual and CNC machining, material procurement, quality control, and personnel management. Jason works closely with Neil and his team at New Century Careers to meet his workforce development needs. Terry is a lead CNC programmer at True Position, Inc., who received his journeyman certificate from New Century Careers. This credential signifies Terry's exceptional expertise and qualifications in this field, and holds the distinction of being a graduate of the New Century Career M2K program that Neil talked about. In addition to completing True Position, Inc.'s rigorous 4-year registered machinist apprenticeship program, his dedication to mastering his craft and advancing his skills exemplifies his commitment to excellence in manufacturing. One real quick thing I want to say about, it's really cool about True Position, as we were doing our prep calls, is they make a pretty critical component that goes into the new Columbia class submarines that are being made right now by the U.S. Navy. And Terry specifically is the person that is in charge or leads the production of that specific part. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I want to give you a shout out to that. And you know, I'm a former military myself, and I look at folks like Terry that he's not in the military, but he's producing a critical component of that. So Terry, I just want to say thank you for your service in making that part. You're making the world, United States, a lot safer by making that part. Without further ado, Jason and Terry, why don't you come up here and tell us a little bit about your organization?
Hello, everybody. As Greg said, my name is Jason Spudek. I'm the Vice President of True Position. We are a contract manufacturing facility just north of here. We're a small shop, earlier described as a mom and pop shop. We have about 15 employees, so finding and hiring the right people is critical. Losing someone to retirement or competition or whatever is devastating, right? If I lose one machinist, it's almost 10% of my capacity. So having somebody and a good source to find people is a big deal. True Position does Navy work, we do Department of Defense work, and steel industry work. We do a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, very small quantities, so we don't have the benefit of hiring in a CNC operator and just kind of punching them in. We need people with a really good background, and that's where apprenticeship is key. I found New Century Careers because I cast a wide net for employees for any service I can, whether it's ZipRecruiter, Votech from high schools, other trade schools. We found New Century Careers around that same way. I took a tour of their facility. I liked what they had to offer. They put my name in a basket, I guess, and said, hey, you know, anybody that's interested in True Position should apply. And that's how I ended up meeting Terry and getting him involved with our team. Terry, as he mentioned, did the M2K program, did the apprenticeship program after he came on board with us. And the reason I'm here is to talk about the employee's perspective on this testimony of how this all works. Terry had to make the decision to do the apprenticeship program because it's a group joint program. I, as an employer, don't have to do all the hard work and heavy lifting and create the programs that a lot of you guys are having to do. I get to use them to register with the state. They actually create the curriculum. My job is to make sure that it all gets done. I record the hours on certain machining practices, and I make sure that all that gets communicated back to them, and then Neil and his team puts it in with the state. And after he actually tested out of the first year, but after 3 years, a lot of hard work, Terry graduated with Department of Labor certified journey person's papers, which is a big accomplishment. It's a lot of hard work. It was 3 years of work, but well worth it, because Terry is now in charge of a lot of things for me. He has the keys to the castle. He can open and close the facility. We trust him to do that. He's one of my lead trainers for new hires on our onboarding process. One of the first things I do for new hires is set up a 3-month probation schedule. And really the first month is you hang out with Terry, because he's gone through all this recently. He knows how to teach because he's recently been taught, and he has a lot of information on a lot of different things, so he's a great person to put with someone new. The reason Terry is on this panel with me is because this is the diversity hire panel, and Terry was formerly incarcerated. So my advice, and the last thing I really have to say, is when it comes to finding, evaluating, and training talent, keep your eyes, hearts, and minds open to whatever background somebody might come from, because they can offer you a hell of a lot of skill and dedication, and you know, build you as they build themselves. So I'm very happy to introduce my friend and coworker Terry Cousins to tell his side of the story.
My story begins pretty much from my release from prison. I was down at the halfway house. I was trying to get home, and I needed some manner of employment to check that box so I could be home to see my family and my dog that was 17 years old, that when I went to prison I wasn't sure if I was going to see him again. I canvassed everywhere, put in applications at anybody that might be willing to hire me, McDonald's, you name it. If they were close by, I put an application. I remember a couple weeks of very frustrating results. I was sitting down in the vending area room, kind of like a break room, and I seen a flyer for New Century Careers, and I remember thinking, machinist. My dad did tool and die work when he was young. He was a journeyman roll turner most of his life. I grew up with a mill and lathe in the house. I never touched them. Never thought about doing machining work. And I thought, well, you know what? Can't say any more of a no than I've already got. Went ahead and contacted them, and there was a test involved. They said, look, as long as you pass the test, you're in. I took the test, and I remember telling Joetta down there, she's the nice lady that was there when that facilitated the test. I remember telling her, I don't care if I have to come in and take this 10 times, I'm going to do this. And I was very thankful that someone had a door open for me to go and give me that opportunity. So when I got done with the test a few days later, she called me to let me know that not only did I pass, but I had the highest test score in the history of the national test. And at first, I couldn't really process that. I thought, I'm down on my luck. She was a really nice lady. She's just trying to make me feel better. Between the acceptance letter that I got back that had it on there and her taking me, future students that came through, taking me to introduce me and introducing me that way, I'm like, this is for real. And I finally did get home, and I remember between that, having the highest test score, that got me thinking. And between now that I'm home, and I noticed when I was at home, I wanted to be back down at the school because I actually missed lathe work. I'm thinking I could be really good at this. I love this. All of these mistakes and these happy accidents or twists and turns of fate, maybe I'm doing exactly what I was born to do. So when I went to release, I was on home confinement. I went to release. My release date was July 28th. I was hired with Jason on August 1st. I'd been out several days, and I didn't expect that. There was a point when I was in the halfway house where I wasn't sure if I was ever going to have a career again. Wasn't sure if I was ever going to go on vacation again. Wasn't sure if I'd be able to support a family again. And I can tell you, at this point, I've done all those things. I bought a house. I bought a car. I make more money than what I ever anticipated the possibility of making. I work hard, but that opportunity, I will always be thankful. And I remember when I was down at the school, I was very grateful to them all the time. And I'm still thankful to this day to Neil and his company. I was in a support group after I released, and I remember the people that release from prison, they are looking at a very small handful of jobs that they feel are available. You have food service. One of the big ones that everybody looks to is Flagger Force, PA Department of Transportation, helping road crews and construction. And the other one is the upper tier one that you're doing good is you get your own CDL and you're a truck driver. There was people that have been in there for years, and I remember day one I showed up, I had a job within a week out, and I'm making more than any of them, starting wage. I've done very, very well, and not everything's about money. As they mentioned, I tell you what, there were days when you come into work and I'm working on a project that it's more than a paycheck. I remember when I first seen the print cross my machine, Columbia class part, and I'm thinking, what's a Columbia class? I went out and I looked it up, and when I realized it was replacing the Ohio class ballistic sub, I didn't need to look that one up. That one has been what keeps us safe. That is our primary nuclear deterrent since probably before I was born. So to have a hand in keeping this country safe, our children safe, and maybe our grandchildren safe, that fills me with more than any paycheck can do. One of my biggest achievements that I'm very proud of is I remember one of my coworkers left, and I took over on a machine. It had a Siemens control, which if any of you talk to me personally at any point, you're going to learn that I love that control. I took this machine over, and at the time I'm thinking, none of this makes much in the way of sense. I don't like it. It's new. The more I learned about it, same approach to school. I'm always overachiever. I'd go to work a day, I'm making parts. I'd come home in the evening, and I'd be going through documentation. I had thousands of pages of it, learning how it works. And to make a long story short, we had 21 weeks worth of work on these aluminum weldments where you machine them and they move, and then you got to re-straighten them and re-machine them to reach these critical dimensions on finish, right? 21 weeks worth of work, same part process every time. I'm identifying over and over that we measure this, we do that, we measure this, we do that. And I'm looking at the manuals in the evening, and I'm deciding, coming to the conclusion that if I get a part probe, I can have it put in the real space information where everything's sitting into the machine and let it make the decision for me in seconds. Not only that, but depending on where we are in the process, instead of me coming in and manually programming numbers to tell it where the best place the machine is, I can have it automatically throw those variables in and run the cut exactly where it needs to be. And I took a process that what would take me 20 or 30 minutes takes me 90 seconds. And the best part is we haven't quite got to that part because I got the part probe at the tail end of the production run. We got some more parts coming in. I'm really sure that I can hand it off to somebody who doesn't know how to make that part. They can drop it on there and it'll give you feedback. If it decides it needs restraightened, it'll say, we can't run this, it needs restraightened. If you put the part in cocked, it'll kick back, you need to refixture this. When it's happy, when everything's good to go, it runs the cut in the best place that I've decided it should be run. And we can drop anybody on there, hit the button, and I'm very sure it can produce good parts. And at the end of the day, stuff like that is, to me, it's amazing. I get up and go to work, and I love what I do. I'm rather past time, which is not what I expected. I thank you all, and I will be around. I'd be happy to talk to anybody who has any questions.
I told you Terry was our cleanup hitter. Well, he just hit a grand slam, didn't he? Let's give Terry another round of applause for, for turning your life around, Terry, is frankly remarkable. And again, thank you for your service. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Dan. Do we have time for a question or two? We do? Okay, all right. Well, do you all have any questions for anyone on the panel? Wow.
I'm very impressed with the work you're doing with Siemens, and I'd really like to know how that turns out.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Yep. One question I have for the panel is, we talk about the level of need that's out there, and these are wonderful programs. Do any of you want to elaborate on your plans for scale? I mean, these are wonderful programs. How do we create more? How do we increase output of more Terrys, of more folks from the Uniquely Abled Academy? Does anyone want to talk about expansion?
Well, I'll jump in real quick on that because this is the first I heard it. You talked about transportation to Homewood. We had a meeting about that. One of the reasons I don't have more Terrys, can you guys hear me?
Check. One of the reasons that I don't have more Terrys is because we're located all the way on the top of Allegheny County. We're pretty far away. So it's hard for people that go to the school that Terry went to make it all the way up to me because there's limitations with transportation, as he mentioned. So we had a meeting about this a few months ago, maybe a year ago. And I told him that the hardest part for me, from my point of view, is getting people to my place. And it's nice to hear now that the Homewood situation, you guys have transportation to. So to answer your question, a way to scale for me is getting people out to us, which is great to see that Neil's working on that already. So good job.
So I mentioned, it is on, okay. So I mentioned the Homewood project. We have a facility also in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So we chose to do that in collaboration with a CTC, the Eastern Westmoreland CTC, just to provide another additional pipeline of new talent to the companies from the Westmoreland Fayette County region, because geographically it would be difficult for those folks to come the whole way into Pittsburgh to receive training and then go back out and seek employment. So we're looking at constructive new ways to even look like the Western PA area, like a compass point, and seeing where can we go farther north to maybe start doing some of these training programs. So
yeah, we're looking at the other counties, obviously getting into other counties, but we just had a meeting and are going to open it up to other neurodiverse individuals. Not sure if we're going to commingle or not, but our demographics and the amount of pipeline of the autistic folks was anecdotal. And so after 2 years now that we've proved we can do it in the rural areas, so now we can go to the other counties. but we're going to open it up because the numbers, you know, we're talking 5 to 8, and we'd really like to expand that. So opening up to some of the other neurodiversities should help that too, so we can expand that.
Yeah, we found that success builds upon success. The more graduates we have that are successfully employed, the more pleased employers that we have, the word spreads. Transportation, again, has been a major issue. Our cohort at Rhodes State was the first cohort outside of the state of California. And there's a total difference in understanding of transportation in Los Angeles County versus Rhodes State, which is in the cornfields of northwestern Ohio. So it's really a major issue for the students, not only to get to the program, but once they've graduated, they need to have a way to get to work also.
Awesome. Thank you. We're a little past time, so I'm going to turn it back over to Dan Sloan here, who will hopefully send us off to lunch.